leaves behind her husband Isaac and her two children, Enoch and Ruth. She was baptized in 1983, and her faithful record of service spanned 34 years. She was a regular pioneer for many years. One of her outstanding qualities was her hospitality. Naomi was always ready to welcome people into her home. At the Kingdom Hall, she was always there to greet you with a warm smile and a handshake to give you an aquaba. This was Naomi. She was a capable woman whose attitude in life can be summed up by events that happened to Jacob. Let's look at one event in Jacob's life that really reflects Naomi's attitude. The night he was on his way to meet Esau, something happened. We can read about this event in Genesis chapter 32. So if you have your copy of the Bible, if you want to follow along in italiano, leggiamo Genesi 32 dai versetti 24 a 26. So Genesis 32 24 to 26, and we know that the man that Jacob met here was an angel. Notice what happens. Finally, Jacob was left by himself. Then a man began to wrestle with him until the dawn broke. When he saw that he had not prevailed over him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated during his wrestling with him. After that he said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." To this he said, "I am not letting you go until you bless me." Jacob wrestled with an angel for a blessing. Naomi wrestled with life's trials for a blessing. This was her character. She was a fighter. And despite the trials that she faced, she was willing to wrestle for that blessing. For example, she suffered the loss of her son, Alfred. Now, others in this situation would have given up. But Naomi and her husband Isaac, they stood firm. They carried on in endurance. She continued in the search for another blessing. Well, now she's gone. But we are confident that we will meet her again. Until then, we keep her in her heart, in our hearts, and we are sure that she is in Jehovah's memory. And as we mourn her death, her legacy of faithful service to Jehovah is a testimony against Satan and this wicked system of things. This is how we remember Naomi. Her Jacob-like mentality. She never gave up in the face of trials. Now, even though he wrestled with an angel, note how Jacob reacted to the news of Joseph's death. Still in the book of Genesis, chapter 37, verses 34 to 35. Genesi 37, dai versetti 34-35. With that, Jacob ripped his garments apart and put sackcloth around his waist and mourned his son for many days. And all his sons and all his daughters kept trying to comfort him, but he kept refusing to take comfort, saying, "I will go down into the grave mourning my son." And his father continued weeping for him. What is the lesson here? Despite the fact that all of us have to wrestle with life's problems, when we lose someone, grief, mourning is a natural process. But we can be sure that Jehovah, who is the Father of tender mercies, He promises to comfort us in our times of loss, in our times of need. Psalm 34:18 says that Jehovah is close to the brokenhearted. He saves those who are crushed in spirit. And we are sure that at this moment, for Isaac, for Ruth and for Lena, we are sure that the solace that can come, the peace of Jehovah that comes upon us, is an important key to dealing with suffering and mourning. Now, we learn a lesson from Elkanah's wife, Hannah. You see, Hannah, she had a problem, do you remember? A twofold problem. We spoke about this in the Watchtower study edition of July this year. Do you remember the article? She had a problem that she was childless, but also that Elkanah's other wife was taunting her. This was grieving her. Now the lesson we want to learn is how Hannah dealt with that situation. Do you remember what she did? She went to Jehovah's temple and she poured out her heart to Jehovah. She poured out her soul. What's the lesson here for all of us, but especially for Naomi's family? Well, when Hannah came away, she was confident that Jehovah would comfort her in some way. She was sure of this. Now, when we face a situation as we are facing today, not only should we tell Jehovah our problem, but like Hannah, we need to beg him for a solution. We need to beg him for comfort. This is the lesson that we can learn from this spiritual woman. And we have a help in Jehovah, the God of all comfort. So when we are suffering, what should we do? Beg for Jehovah's help. Keep in mind the words of Philippians chapter 4. Filippesi capitolo 4. Verses 6 and 7. Capitolo 4, versetti 6 e 7. Do not be anxious over anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication, along with thanksgiving, let your petitions be made known to God. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your mental powers by means of Christ. Now, I just wanted to reflect with you on these words because they are powerful words. If we pray to Jehovah, if we beg him, despite our loss, the peace of God can come upon us. Because as Jehovah's Witnesses, we have hope. If you have visited Isaac during these last few days, what will he say to you? I heard him, but we have hope, my brother or my sister. We have hope. That hope is strong. When we speak about faith and hope, maybe we remember Paul's words to the Thessalonians, where he said that hope is like a helmet of salvation. Now, a soldier would not go into battle without his helmet on, because he knew that the helmet would protect his head. It would protect his thinking abilities. The hope we have protects our minds. It protects us despite loss. It keeps us strong. We know that Paul in 1 Corinthians 15:55 spoke about the sting of death. Have you ever reflected on these words, the sting of death? Because if you think about this term sting, it conveys the idea of the pain that is experienced by the loss of a loved one. But it also conveys a hope. And it's a hope that we as Jehovah's Witnesses entertain. Because a sting is temporary and can be cured. It doesn't speak about a death blow. It speaks about a sting. And if you as a parent, if your child has ever been stung by an insect, it's something that you can easily cure. Well, death for Jehovah is something like a sting. He can easily cure it. And this is the hope that we hold on to. Because the Bible gives the hope that millions who have died will live again. Think about this. Jehovah, who is the giver of life, don't you think that he is capable to bring back to life someone who has died? Well, just to prove that he is capable, Jehovah gave a guarantee. Do you know who this guarantee is? It's Jesus Christ. And the guarantee is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Just before he died, Jesus told his followers, and they heard him say this clearly, that I am the resurrection and the life. Now ask yourself, how could he possibly prove this statement true if he remained in the grave? Well, by resurrecting his Son, Jehovah guaranteed this hope to all faithful ones. And now Jesus is ready to take on a wonderful assignment to resurrect those in the memorial tombs. And we look forward to the time when we will meet Naomi again. That there will be an opportunity to see her come back. This is something we are sure of. It's something that we believe. It's a hope that protects our minds. It's a hope that we keep strong. But until that time comes, maybe some of you are asking, but what is the condition of the dead? Well, the Bible clearly answers this question. In Ecclesiastes chapter 9, Ecclesiastes capitolo 9, versetti 5 e 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5 and verse 10. The Bible clearly states that death is the opposite to life. In verse 5 we read, For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing at all, nor do they have any more reward, because all memory of them is forgotten. And verse 10, Whatever your hands find to do, do with all your might, for there is no work, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave where you are going. So in simple terms, the Bible tells us that the dead are unconscious. Many times, the Bible refers to death as a sleep, a deep sleep. Interestingly, the English word cemetery comes from a Greek term meaning sleeping place. So we find comfort in this fact that we know that Naomi is sleeping. She is not in pain. She is not anywhere suffering because she cannot communicate with her family. She is resting, waiting for the call. Who will give that call? Revelation 1:18 tells us that Jesus has the keys to the grave. He has that power that now he can unlock the gates of the grave and invite all of those residents in the dust to come out. Will you be there to see this? I've often thought about this, what it would be like in the new world to live through a resurrection. And sometimes I thought it may be that maybe one morning you receive a letter from a postman, maybe we will have theocratic postmen, who will bring this letter to your door. And it's an invitation to a resurrection. You have the date, the time and the place. And you present yourself there. And you look around and others are there with you. They too have a similar invitation. And then you hear a loud horn. And suddenly comes walking towards you your loved ones. Can you imagine that? What an exciting time that would be. Now we are sorrowing. But our hope is that one day those tears of sorrow will become tears of joy. And we know this to be true. So how can we benefit from being here? How can we be sure that we will experience the resurrection, the earthly resurrection? Well, a funeral like this reminds us of something that is very important. If you turn with me, still in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 11. Here we read, I have seen something further under the sun, that the swift do not always win the race, nor do the mighty win the battle, nor do the wise always have the food, nor do the intelligent always have the riches, nor do those with knowledge always have success. This is the point we want to focus on, because time and unexpected events overtake them all. We are like the morning mist. We are here today, but after a fleeting time, we disappear. This is a fact of life. Death is an enemy. It is not a friend. It's a relentless enemy, and it is chasing every single one of us. We might think that we will outrun it, but this is not a race over a short distance. This is a long race, and in time it will catch up with us. Life is brief. And when faced with the reality of death, it's good to think about the routine of everyday life. You know, in Ghana now, when there is a funeral, there are celebrations. You know this. People celebrate. And some parents fear that their children will be celebrating the funeral more than celebrating life. Because we as Jehovah's Witnesses, we celebrate every day. We don't celebrate death. We celebrate the times we are living now. And we use our energies, our minds, we use everything we have to live for Jehovah in a meaningful way. Our zeal and our conduct, sharing, sanctifying Jehovah's name. We know that if we continue in this race for life, even if we die, we have a place in Jehovah's memory guaranteed. Our name is written in the book of life. This is what we know, and this brings us joy. And we know that in that book of life, Naomi's name is written down. But we should also use this occasion and the days ahead to comfort one another. Do you remember recently we learnt in the Watchtower that some people say time heals. But isn't it more true it's the way that we use our time that heals? Now the Say family are going through a period of grief. How long will that period of grief last? Nobody knows. But if we can give them comfort, if we can share with them in being zealous for righteous works, in some way that might alleviate the pain that we all suffer. So, as fellow believers, we can remind one another of our sure hope and provide emotional support. And we prayerfully wait for the time when we will meet Naomi again. This is not, as they say, adieu. This is not this. This is an arrivederci. We will meet again. This is something we are truly sure of. But we have to make it there. We are sure that Naomi will be there too. Visto che molti di noi non conoscono la lingua inglese, volevo riassumere brevemente in lingua italiana ciò che abbiamo discusso. Naomi aveva 54 anni, è nata nel 1963. Lascia il suo marito Isaac e i figli Lino e Ruth. È stata battezzata nel 1983, quindi il suo servizio è più di 34 anni, sacro servizio verso il nostro Creatore. Una delle sue qualità maggiori, sicuramente conoscete bene il fatto che Naomi era molto ospitale.
era sempre disponibile a ricevere persone a casa sua. Quando entravamo in sala del regno era sempre lì con un bel sorriso a darci il benvenuto. Ma soprattutto Naomi era una persona che lottava contro la vita, ma lottava per cercare la benedizione del nostro Padre Celeste. Nonostante situazioni difficili da superare, Naomi era sempre lì a cercare di fare ciò che era giusto, a cercare di rendere gloria al nostro Creatore. Era come l'uomo Giacobbe, che ha lottato con un angelo tutta la notte cercando una benedizione. Ma nonostante aveva questa capacità di lottare con un angelo per tutta la notte, quando Giacobbe si rese conto che suo figlio Giuseppe era morto, come si è comportato? Abbiamo già letto questa scrittura, ma la leggiamo insieme. Vi invito a prendere con me Genesi, capitolo 37, versetti 34 e 35. Allora Giacobbe si strappò i mantelli e si mise del sacco sui fianchi e fece lutto per il suo figlio per molti giorni. E tutti i suoi figli e tutte le sue figlie si levavano a confortarlo, ma egli si rifiutava di essere confortato e diceva: poiché scenderò facendo lutto del mio figlio nel Sheol. E suo padre continuò a piangerlo. È vero che nonostante il fatto che tutti noi lottiamo ogni giorno con questo sistema di cose, con la malvagità che vediamo intorno a noi, quando perdiamo una persona cara, non è vero che ci sentiamo come Giacobbe, desolati. Però noi non siamo senza speranza. Come testimoni di Geova, noi abbiamo una speranza di rivedere Naomi di nuovo. Com'è possibile conoscere questa speranza? Beh, innanzitutto dobbiamo capire qual è la condizione dei morti. Per fare ciò dobbiamo semplicemente leggere ciò che dice le scritture. Vi invito a leggere insieme a me dal libro di Ecclesiaste, capitolo 9, versetto 5 e versetto 10. Versetto 5 legge: poiché i viventi sono consci che moriranno, ma in quanto ai morti non sono consci di nulla, né hanno più alcun salario, perché il ricordo di essi è stato dimenticato. E versetto 10: tutto ciò che la tua mano trova da fare, fallo con la tua medesima potenza, poiché non c'è lavoro, né disegno, né conoscenza, né sapienza nello Sheol, il luogo al quale vai. Quindi, in termini molto semplici, la Bibbia ci fa capire qual è la condizione dei morti. Ci fa capire che sono inconsci. La morte è l'opposto della vita. I viventi conoscono, possono vedere, possono rendersi conto, ma i morti sono addormentati, non si rendono conto di nulla. Ma potremmo chiederci, ma rimarranno così per sempre? Ma anche qui, come studenti della Bibbia, noi abbiamo una speranza che è forte. Questa speranza è la risurrezione. Gesù stesso ha detto che Lui è la risurrezione ed è la vita. E noi siamo fiduciosi che un giorno Gesù, che ha le chiavi dello Sheol, che ha le chiavi della tomba, Lui un giorno aprirà il cancello e inviterà tutti i morti ad uscire sulla terra a ritrovare i loro cari. Questa è la speranza che noi abbiamo. Ma questo è un giorno che deve ancora arrivare. Quindi abbiamo parlato velocemente in inglese su oggi. Oggi è un momento in cui riflettiamo sulla vita e quanto breve è la nostra vita. Oggi è un giorno in cui dobbiamo riflettere come stiamo utilizzando la nostra vita. Vogliamo lavorare per chi ci può dare la vita eterna, giusto? Questo è il nostro obiettivo. Ma vogliamo anche cercare di dare conforto alla famiglia sei. C'è un detto che tempo è galantuomo, che con tempo magari le ferite, il dolore passa. Ma non è più corretto dire che come utilizziamo il nostro tempo. Se sfruttiamo questi giorni a riflettere su quanto breve la nostra vita, dovrebbe incentivarci a cercare sempre fare di più la volontà del nostro Signore, Geova Dio. Noi attendiamo il momento in cui possiamo ridare il benvenuto a Naomi. Oggi non è un addio, oggi per tutti noi sappiamo che è un arrivederci. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Adley, for such a touching, strengthful, and encouraging Bible-based talk. We appreciate very much in such a difficult time having these strengthful words from Jehovah. It really touches us and really gives us hope to stand firm.
Where are you? No, we are now about to leave from the Freedom Hall for Peter Sassanate.
But I think can English and a treason.
When Job felt that he was close to dying, he asked a question.
Brana, you will say, or ya bank, you will know. I feel beside assembly.
We can read this question in verse 14 of Job 14. It says, if a man dies, can he live again?
Assembly sana ever here, Tidu 9, Tidu 9, it's a say. So, be me who are better as you.
No, Job answers this question. I will wait all the days of my compulsory service until my relief comes. You will call, and I will answer you. You will long for the work of your hands.
Job, dream, I feel one as assembly summer, ain't it of why I said. Maybe I send them in a met train. I could say, home here, ever. What a friend, a man so, major also.
So Job clearly states that there is a period of waiting in the grave, but this period of waiting will end when he receives the call. Note in verse 15, he says of God, you will long for the work of your hands. This term long gives the idea of a desire, a strong desire on the part of God to resurrect the dead. Jehovah has the power to do this, and he has the desire. Now, as we bury Naomi, we await Jehovah to fulfill this desire. As we reflected on in our talk, it's good for us to recognize that life is something brief. But this is not what God purposed. He wants us to live forever. Isn't this the desire of every one of us? He has put in our hearts the desire to live forever. And this desire of God to call, we know that Naomi will be there to answer, and we desire, our hope is to be there to greet her. So let us use this time to reflect on how we can make sure that we will have our place either in Jehovah's memory, or we will have our place in the new system of things by going through the Great Tribulation and Armageddon. At this point we will offer a prayer.
It is our great year.
Naomi,